Cheesy the Podcast, presented by Just Cheesy Productions.
Hi there, I'm your host Fondue.
I'm Cheesy.
In this week's episode, we're learning all about cheesecloth. We're going to learn about how it's made.
Whoa.
We're going to learn about how it's grated,
What?
how you use it, and how you clean it. We're also going to learn a little bit about decorating with it.
Wow.
We're going to hear a great story about a yummy Butterfinger spread.
Yum.
And of course, no episode would be complete without our very cheesy joke.
Gotta laugh at a joke.
Stay tuned for episode 149, Cheesecloth, on Just Cheesy, the podcast. You know, Cheesy, when I thought about this episode, I wasn't sure we were going to get a whole lot of content out of it.
Yeah.
Now, I know what cheesecloth is generically.
Yeah.
We've used it a few times in order to strain some cheese that we've made.
Yeah, we have.
And so I kind of didn't give it a second thought.
Nope.
And if you've never seen it before, it kind of looks like gauze.
Yeah.
According to cheesecloth.co, it's a lightweight cotton fabric with an open texture.
Whoa.
According to fabriclore.com, muslin fabric was manufactured in Bangladesh.
Wow.
And it was used to make the very first cheesecloth.
Whoa.
They say the explorer Marco Polo
Hello.
came across this cheesecloth when he traveled to India. And it says he brought it to Europe, and from Europe they took it to the United States.
Wow.
Between 1271 and 1295.
Holy cow, 1200?
Right? I mean, if they're making it in 1271, you figure it's been around for quite a while.
Yeah.
According to organiccottonmart.com, there are two main types of cheesecloth.
Okay.
Bleached and unbleached.
Ah.
Of course, unbleached is exactly what you'd think.
Yeah.
It's made of cotton. It contains no toxic chemicals. It also is biodegradable.
Whoa.
Bleached cheesecloth is chlorine-free, but it does not contain the natural cotton oil or fibers as a result of the bleaching.
Wow.
And what I thought was kind of interesting is that there are grades to cheesecloth.
Really?
And according to foodnetwork.com, it's just like sheets.
Oh.
Cheesecloth has a thread count.
Whoa.
It ranges from 10 to 100.
Wow.
eeshank.com actually has a really neat graphic.
Yeah.
And they say the grades or thread count is distinguished by the number of threads per inch.
Whoa.
That's where we have number 10 having the lowest and 90 having the highest concentration of threads.
Yeah.
Lower numbers like 10 are a more open weave,
Oh.
and higher numbers are a tighter weave and a heavier weight.
Okay.
The lower numbers or looser weave allows liquid to pass through quickly, and the tighter weave makes it take more time, but it catches more of the solids.
Oh, yeah.
If you're like me,
Yeah.
you say, well, okay, I made cheese once, or, I have it in the drawer at home,
Yeah.
but what else is it good for? Well, let me tell you, there are entire articles about how you can use cheesecloth.
Whoa.
Straining. If you don't have a fine mesh strainer,
Yeah.
you can use cheesecloth.
Oh.
You can use it for a flour or sugar shaker.
Oh, neat.
You take some sort of a container like a mason jar.
Okay.
You fill it with flour or sugar, put the cheesecloth over the lid, and then you use a ring or a strong rubber band to hold it in place.
Whoa.
They talk about a fancy lemon juice wedge.
Ooh la la.
You can actually take a half a lemon, tie it in cheesecloth, and when you squeeze the lemon, all the seeds stay inside.
Ooh, that's nice.
Now, I forgot I've used this one before, but you
Yeah.
can use it as an herb and spice bundle.
Yep.
You can put a bunch of herbs and spices in a little piece of cheesecloth and tie it up with twine.
Oh, yeah.
And then put it in your soups. And that way you don't have to fish out all the bits afterwards.
Nice.
They talk about using it to proof bread.
Ooh.
Make sure to put flour on it first so it doesn't stick.
Yeah.
They say you can wrap veggies and fruits
Ooh.
in order to keep them moist.
Ew, moist.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You can use it to keep foods fresh.
Ooh.
They say you can store foods like greens or hard cheeses, and it actually allows the moisture to escape,
Yeah.
but it prevents spoilage.
Whoa.
You can use it to make cold brew coffee,
Ooh.
custard, broth, puree,
Whoa.
and even to baste a turkey.
What?
According to Weber.com, you can take 1/2 of a stick of unsalted butter, a cup of white wine in a saucepan,
Ooh.
and heat until the butter's melted. You soak your cheesecloth in wine and butter.
Okay.
Once it's cool, you take the cheesecloth, you squeeze out any excess liquid, and then you drape the cloth evenly over a breast of turkey.
Whoa.
Weber has some charcoal turkey step-by-step instructions and gas turkey tips on their website, which is in our show notes.
Nice.
Weber is not a sponsor.
Nope.
But if they were, their ad would go right here. Have you ever wanted to listen to the web?
Yeah.
Well, Newsly makes that possible.
They do.
They're an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android.
Super app.
You can listen to trending articles on the web on topics that you choose and get them read to you in a natural human voice.
What kind of topics?
Sports,
Cheese?
tech, business, science.
Cheese?
I'm sure there's even cheese.
Yay!
They even have an entire section for podcasts.
Are we there?
Of course we are.
Ooh.
It's one of my new favorite podcast apps. They even have digital radio.
Holy cow.
Just go to www.newsly.me to download it free.
Whoa.
Or use the link in the description. If you use the promo code CHEESY, that'll get you 1 month free premium subscription.
Yay, Newsly.
Now, back to the podcast. We talked about a whole bunch of uses of cheesecloth for food.
Yeah.
But what about clothing?
Clothing?
According to fabriclore.com, cheesecloth was a popular choice for shirts and blouses through the 60s and 70s.
Whoa.
According to onlinefabricstore.com, you'd likely use a grade 90 cheesecloth because it's heavier and more durable if you were making something that needed a solid fabric.
Okay.
So you're going to use that for things like shirts or blouses or summer skirts.
Whoa.
And they said its crinkly appearance makes it more appropriate for casual wear.
Okay.
Because it gets so wrinkly, they recommend ironing it before cutting.
Whoa.
They give tips here on what stitches to use, how to do the seams, the hems, and how to do a decorative finish.
Whoa.
Not interested in wearing cheesecloth?
Not really?
Well, there's lots of other uses.
Okay.
Printmaking.
Whoa.
According to polymetal.nl, they say that cheesecloth is sometimes used for printmaking.
Whoa.
It's used in lithography for wiping up gum arabic.
Wow.
According to Wikipedia, cheesecloth is used in several really interesting ways.
Really?
It's used in product safety and regulatory testing for potential fire hazards.
Whoa.
The cloth is wrapped tightly over a device under test, which is then subjected to simulated conditions such as lightning surges.
Whoa.
They say the device might get destroyed, but not ignite the cheesecloth.
Wow.
This can ensure that the device can fail safely and not start electrical fires.
Wow.
There's cheesecloth made to a specific standard that's used to test the durability of optical coatings per the United States military standard.
Whoa.
They take cheesecloth and rub it over an optical surface about 50 times under at least 1 pound of force.
Wow.
They then look at the surface for streaks and scratches in
Okay.
order to determine the optical performance.
Whoa.
They even use it in anatomical dissection labs.
Ooh.
This is used to slow the process of desiccation. They take the cloth, they soak it in a preservative solution, and then they wrap it around the specimen.
Whoa.
This keeps it from drying out too fast.
Wow.
There are so many uses. They suggest dusting, wiping, cleaning, applying stain.
Yeah.
And if you've ever used something like a tack cloth when you've done a painting project,
Yeah.
a tack cloth is basically a cheesecloth that is treated with some sort of a tacky material.
Whoa.
Sometimes it's beeswax, sometimes it's a petroleum derivative.
Wow.
Did you know that you could decorate with cheesecloth?
You can?
According to wikihow.com, they teach you how to make some ghosts. All you need is some cheesecloth and a fabric stiffener.
Whoa.
There's instructions in the show notes.
Yeah.
Let's say you're using cheesecloth for one of your food projects.
Yeah.
Did you know it can be washed and reused?
It can?
According to whirlpool.com, you want to check out the packaging to make sure it's not single use.
Whoa.
But if it isn't, you can easily wash and dry it.
Wow.
They suggest getting all the food bits out of your cheesecloth,
Yeah.
place it in the washer in a mesh laundry bag,
Okay.
and then basically they say you could dry the cheesecloth in a dryer on a low or no heat setting.
Wow.
Of course, you can wash it by hand,
Sure.
and they say you can also boil it to try to get it clean.
Nice.
And if you don't want to try to wash it out, as long as it's made from 100% natural cotton fibers, it can actually be added to a home composting bin.
Whoa.
According to canicomposted.com, cotton is 100% biodegradable,
It is?
and it'll eventually break down.
Whoa.
They say it does take a little bit longer than other compostable materials,
Sure.
and it will likely take several months for it to fully decompose.
Wow.
It's time for my favorite segment.
This week in cheese.
According to bakemag.com, there's a place called Pop-Up Bagels,
Ooh, yum.
and they're teaming with Butterfinger.
Ooh.
They're making a Butterfinger cream cheese spread.
Yummy.
They say this special spread will be available starting Wednesday, September 25th through October 1st.
Nice.
And you can pre-order this for pickup at all Pop-Up Bagel locations. Pop-Up Bagels is located in New York, Connecticut, and Massachusetts.
I'm ready for a joke, Fondue.
Okay, when did the cheesecloth stop weightlifting?
I have no idea.
When it started to feel the strain.
Oh.
It started to feel the strain?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Oh yeah, that one was so good.
Yeah.
And a little bit cheesy. Thanks Thanks for listening to Just Cheesy the Podcast, episode 149, Cheesecloth.
Thank you.
If you've ever used cheesecloth in a unique manner, let us know.
Yeah.
Our email is info@justcheesy.com.
And stay cheesy, everybody.